in the concept of lusts, ta'avot, desires, which are in the terminology of Rebbe Nachman called ahavot nefulot, fallen loves. A person loves something but it's fallen, because really a person should love and desire something holy, but instead a person has a love and a desire for lowly things. So Rebbe Nachman addresses this in a few places. Just before that, we have to explain that in order to help a person to get out of these fallen loves, that he's addicted to these lower things, and he should not be loving and connected to them. He can also love and he hates them, but it's a type of addiction. It's a fallen love. Again, he knows it could be wrong. What's needed is a higher dosage of a positive love to be revealed to the person, so that a person will automatically drop these fallen loves. Because one of the reasons why a person is connected to and has a love and a desire for the wrong things is because he hasn't seen anything otherwise of a stronger potency to pull him away. So for this, a strong dosage of type of a holy love is needed to be exposed to this person in order to get him out of it. So for example, in Likutei Moran lesson number 4, Rebbe Nachman gives the analogy of a child who has a great ta'ava to play his silly games. The child is busy playing and acting silly, and he has a great love and a desire for these things. But when a child sees his mommy, he drops everything and he runs to his mommy. That is, of course, if he has a good relationship with his mommy and he loves his mommy. A normal relationship between a mommy, a mother, and a baby, and a son, a child. So when he sees his mom, he drops everything. Like when she comes to pick him up from kindergarten or whatever, so he drops everything and he runs. So he says, Rebbe Nachman, the same thing is that the Tzaddik is considered like a mother, because he nurses the Jewish people with the milk of his Torah. He gives, the Torah is called milk also, like we know from Shavuot, the custom of eating milk on Shavuot, because the Torah is compared to, the words of Torah compared to milk. Dvash v'chalav tachat leshonach, it's a verse from Shir of Shirim, Song of Songs. So the Tzaddik is able, like a mother, to nurse the Jewish people with the Torah. And so when the light of the Tzaddik is revealed to people, they drop anything lower than that they had a love and a tendency and a desire to connect to. They drop all that and they run to this tzaddik to receive from his light. And this also explains if you want to call it a phenomena, how people, Baal Tshuvas or converts, people beginning to serve Hashem, people beginning to come close to tzaddikim, they're filled with a tremendous blinding light of holiness that just drowns everything else. They quickly and immediately drop past tendencies and jump into the holiness, the kedusha, because of this exposure. Okay? So what's needed is throughout life to reconnect to this type of love. Rebbe Nachman's advice in lesson number 4 is seeing the tzaddik. By seeing the tzaddik, which Rav Nosson explains, means to learn with a sincerity and emunah the teachings of the tzaddikim. In that way, you're able to see the tzaddik, and his light shining to you will be so stronger. The love and the pull of his teachings is so much stronger that you will automatically drop things which are lower than that. Even the biggest taivas, the biggest lust and desires and fallen loves, you'll drop everything. In another lesson, lesson 34, Rebbe Nachman gives another advice. He explains that there are 3 points that every Jew has to connect to daily. Okay? 1 point, he says there, is to have your personal connection to Hashem through conversation, through talking to Hashem, praying and talking to Hashem in your own words. You connect to the inner point within you that basically is the piece of godliness, the piece of Hashem, so to speak, kivyachol, that's within you. Having this daily conversation connects you to your inner point. It's called, in the terminology of lesson 34, mineh ubei. The point is that's within you, which is basically the point of Hashem. You speaking to Hashem illuminates that point, which is through the mouth, through speech. Number 2 is the point that you receive from your friend, your chaver, nekudat hachaver, the point of a friend, by speaking daily, conversing daily with a friend on words of Yirat Shamayim, words of fear of heaven, not speaking about the baseball game, about the business and the stock market, but speaking about serving Hashem with your friend. This illuminates another point that it's called Dain Min Dain, that each one receives from another, because each Jew has a unique point that his fellow Jew does not, and it's an utmost importance to receive from one another. This is called Dain Min Dain. This illuminates the second point. And the third point is called Nekudat Tzaddik. By conversing daily with tzaddikim, with the true tzaddikim, which can also be done by learning the teachings of the tzaddikim, and by you enunciating and pronouncing, articulating the words out loud, it's a format of a conversation with the tzaddik, because you're learning his teachings, so and you're speaking the words, so it's a type of a conversation also. This illuminates the point of receiving from the tzaddik. When these 3 points are activated, what they activate is this holy love, this ahava d'kedusha. And if this love is activated, it drowns out the fallen loves of the fallen desires. And this is another advice given by Rebbe Nachman of activating love. Because again, the point is, if we see the new generation, for example, it's so hard to get our children off, God forbid, iPhones and internet and things which we feel are damaging to them. And just telling them off and rebuking them is just pushing them further. It's not getting anywhere. What's needed is a higher dosage of love from a higher level, which will drown out this lower one. Because there's a rule in Judaism: if there exists a negative force, that must mean there exists an equal positive force. And on top of that, there's a tipping of the scale for the good, mida tova meruba. The good always has the upper hand. Even though for free will there's equals good and there's the equal negative, still Hashem in his kindness and his wanting for good, he gives a bit more power for the good, but it's up to the person's free will to tip it over and the ability of it to work. It's up to the person, obviously. But this is the idea of helping people who are trapped in fallen tendencies, fallen loves and desires, by revealing a higher dosage of love. And these are the advices, to name a few, that Rebbe Nachman gives to get out of it.